but we fixed it. And apparently we have an excellent collection, and so we are live. And so hi everybody, thank you for being here, guys. And Sherby, it is good to hear from you. And if you are here, let me know in the chat who else is here today. How was your spring break? It is a beautiful day outside. Like beyond gorgeous, absolutely perfect out there. I got outside a little bit this morning, and I plan on getting back outside a little bit later again today too. What were you guys up to over spring break? How have you been staying busy? How is everybody doing? Sam, hello. Glad to hear from you. If you're here, say hello. Everybody else who's here, please. I'm excited to be back doing this. It's been a break and a half. I realized early on that the days go by faster if you stay busy, so I started painting my bedroom. So I'm working on that. That's been interesting. Pretty fun. We're going with a nice blue tint to it. It was this old dreary gray or green, so that's definitely an upgrade, I guess. And yeah, Caitlin says hello. Madison says hello. Fateh says hello. Jennifer says hello. Neha says hello. I'm so happy you guys are here. You have no idea like how much it means to me to actually have an audience. I know that sounds incredibly egotistical, but yeah, it's egotistical. That's just what it is. Trying to do this when there's nobody watching is just, it's just not good. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Coach Lynch, I appreciate the offer. I have had one experience painting the outside of a house. I don't know if you're referring to the outside or inside. But I'm going to have to pass on that offer. It's very generous of you. But although I consider myself a decent painter, it's not one of my favorite pastimes. But it definitely makes the days go by faster when you have something to do. That is the truth. That is definitely the truth. So because of the way we're streaming today, we might have some issues with lag or anything like that, but hopefully you guys will still be able to hear me throughout it. And that'll be great. So the one thing I do want to show you guys to start out with is our Google Classroom page here. Try to make that a little bit bigger. I don't know if that helps you see it or not. I guess my big head is in the way if I do that, so I could make myself smaller. That's good. So I did want to just show you guys, I have caught up on grading, and I kind of want to talk about what that means for everybody. I don't know, like, I don't hate painting. I like the end result. I like the reward at the end. Although the middle parts are not always so fun. I like the reward at the end. I don't like taping. Taping is not for me, but so anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about Classwork and Google Classroom. And so I've caught up on the e-learning grading. I actually still have, let's see if I can show you. I actually still have about a mountain's worth of actual like paper grading. You guys can see this, that I brought home with me, that I just haven't touched because I've been working on things around the house and spending a lot of time with my daughter. So I haven't got into any of the paper grading of things that I collected before we left for school. I'm going to be working on getting that this week. That's one of my goals for this week. But I did catch up on the e-learning grading. And the big important takeaway from all that is that everything is going in under the assessments or performance category, which is the 85% of your grade part. And my dog is going crazy upstairs. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Probably, I don't know. Probably somebody walking their own dog on the sidewalk and he doesn't like it. But anyway, all the grades are going in on the performance category. And why that's important is that they count for 85% of your grade. So we've only had 2 assignments that I put in for a grade so far. The moles and particles quiz and the how big is a mole TED Ed assignment that I actually wanted to take 2 seconds and talk about because something kind of cool happened with that I would love for more people to get engaged with. So for the moles and particles quiz, I had set it up to try and accept only correct answers. Now the problem with that is that your answer could have been really close to correct, but not exactly the way I wanted you to type it, and then it wasn't going to allow you to submit it. kind of like what Khan Academy does, which is annoying. And I realize that it's annoying, and I've since decided to never attempt that again. So I apologize for that. And to anybody who emailed me and complained, I gave you the credit for that assignment because you at least contacted me. You've shown me the effort that you were there doing it, so you got the credit for it. So that's great. I'm really curious about what's going on with my dog. What up, Luis? Thank you for joining the stream today. All right. So anyway, so that's the story on the moles and particles quiz. How big is a mole? The TED Ed assignment. I want you guys to see this. I gave you a grade if you submitted this on TED Ed. You didn't need to interact with Google Classroom at all for that. You only needed to interact with TED Ed. So one thing that I thought was awesome was that there were some discussions that got started, and I love this. I absolutely love this. I want to show this to you guys. We have a great, nope, there it is. Okay, good. Ada asked an amazing question that I thought was hilarious, and I want to show this to you guys. She said, could you use a mole to measure pounds, the weight of something? So for example, what if you had a mole of turkey? I thought that's a super interesting question. What if you had a mole of turkey? So I did a little research and I thought about it. And a mole of turkey, okay, well, the average Thanksgiving turkey is about 15 pounds. If you had one mole of 15-pound turkeys, that would be 9 times 10 to the power of 24 pounds of turkey. And I thought, okay, well, that's kind of an interesting number. Like, can we put that in and conceptualize that? So the weight of every human being on the planet, okay, 137 pounds on average for a human, which actually seems really low, but you have to remember you're considering males, females, young, old, different countries all over the world, so 137 pounds seems pretty reasonable. 7.8 billion people on the planet. Do the math and you get something around 1 times 10 to the power of 12 pounds. So here's where scientific notation is really cool, right? I've got 9 times 10 to the 24th pounds of turkey, and I've got 1 times 10 to the 12th pounds of humans, if you take the weight of every human alive on the planet right now. So the two, I don't know what they're actually called. I don't know the vocabulary term for the number that comes first in scientific notation, but the 9 and the 1, if you divide 9 divided by 1, it's just equal to 9. And then for the exponents, when you're doing exponents in math, dividing exponents means what you really need to do is subtract them. So someone's coming to say hello to me, or hello? So anyway, so 24 minus 12 is 12, which means that the weight of all those turkeys would be 9 times 10 to the 12th more weight, like that many times heavier than every human being alive, which is 9 trillion times heavier. So yeah, that's a lot of turkey. Hey, Amy, what are you doing? Huh? Do you have Ellie or do you put her to bed?
No, I put her to bed. I just had to put something in storage.
Why was Mo going crazy?
FedEx.
Oh, fun. Okay, yeah. So I answered that question, so good for me. All right, so anyway, I thought that was great. Guys, I really appreciate you guys interacting with each other. If you open up these kinds of discussions when I do something like I do here on TED Ed, and opening up these responses, and I've responded to everybody who has asked a question there, and I would encourage you guys to interact with each other and ask questions for things that are curiosities that you have like that. It's a great way to engage and get involved. So anyway, you got a grade for that assignment, you got a grade for the moles and particles quiz, and if you did both of those things, you'll probably see that your grade has gone up. And that's awesome, because that's our goal here, right? Is we're in this e-learning situation. I want to reward you guys for participating and being involved, and that's why these streams are so important, and that's why all the grades are going to be in the performance category. So if you've done them, you'll see that your grade has gone up. Great job. Keep up the good work. And yeah, that's really like the most important thing right now, is to just keep working on that. Now, where are we going to go from here? So I think after this week, we're going to move on to some topics in chemistry just that I have a personal interest in. And so, like, for example, I have a personal interest in balancing chemical equations. I think it's like a fun, almost like a puzzle that you can solve, like Sudoku or something like that. So I think it's cool. I want to talk about chemical reactions and where energy in chemical reactions comes from, because I think that's super interesting. How come chemical reactions release energy? Like, what makes an explosion explode? That's interesting to me. And then I think I'm also going to spend some time talking about nuclear physics, which you might say, like, well, wait a minute, Baker, this is chemistry. Well, yeah, but when we talk about nuclear, like chemistry or nuclear physics, we're talking about how atoms, these tiny particles that we've talked about a little bit, how they behave when they interact with one another, and that's super cool to me. So as we pivot to those things, it's going to be some new material, and you're going to continue to receive assignments from me. They'll always be in that e-learning category on Google Classroom. So that's how you guys know what you need to do. Go to the e-learning category and see if you've done it. You know, on Classwork, on Google Classroom, click e-learning and go there. That's how you guys would know what you need to do. And as you do those assignments, you will get test credit for them. I really want to drive that point home in case anybody missed it. These are test grades. And because they're test grades, that is how you're going to increase your grade up. Because, you know, I don't know whether we're going to have a chance to be back or not. I don't know if you're going to have a chance to retake any of the old tests that we did before we left. Because we always had that retake policy with the final exam, for example. I don't know. I think we'll be back before the end of the year, but I don't know that for sure. There's a chance that we won't be. And so because of that, I wanted to make sure that I had a good way to give you guys some real legitimate credit for the work that you are doing during e-learning, and that's how I'm doing it. So if that makes sense to everybody, then awesome. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So what are we going to do for the rest of this week? Later this afternoon, once the stream is over, I'm going to post another quiz, and it's going to be longer than the first quiz that I posted, and I'm not going to do that dumb thing with only accepting the answer if it's perfectly correct, because that was way too complicated and it just discouraged a lot of people from turning it in. So I'm not going to do that. It's going to be longer. It's going to be worth more points. But here's what it's going to be about, right? It's going to be about those things that we've learned. And then once we're done with this quiz, we're moving on to some of that other stuff I was just talking about. So we've got molecular weight. So figuring out, if I give you a chemical, for example, H2O is equal to 18 grams per mole. How did I figure that out? Well, I went to the periodic table. I looked at all the, I looked at 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, and I figured out their weight. We've practiced that a lot. So that's going to be on there. The other thing that we worked on was percent composition. So we talked about if you have a certain amount, I might be wrong. Did we talk about percent composition? I think we did. Yeah, we definitely did. I might ask you, like, okay, so what percent of H2O is oxygen? So that might be like a percent composition question. Well, then you would say that oxygen is 16 grams per mole. That's from the periodic table. And you might say, well, then the total is 18 grams per mole. And we had a formula for percent composition. That was always the mass of the part divided by the mass of the whole. And then after you do that, to turn it into an actual percentage, multiply by 100 to move that decimal place over 2 spaces and make it a percent. So in this case, I would do the mass of the oxygen, 16, divided by the mass of the whole, 18. I would do that first and then multiply by 100. And that would tell me that the percent composition of oxygen in the compound H2O is 88.9%. I know that's kind of down in the corner of the screen, so I don't know how well you can see it. I apologize about that. But so those are two things that we covered in this unit: molecular weight and percent composition. If you need help on those things, then there are definitely videos where we've talked about them. If you go back again into that Google Classroom, for example, all the videos that we've done are in the stream going back to when this all started. So you have to watch these chemistry lives, and I'll actually show you guys on my YouTube page. I did try to give them some descriptions. So I actually think I have to go to the home page because I don't want to interrupt the stream. Let's see. I don't know. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see all the videos that we've done. And then there's a couple that are Zooms as well. But so yeah, Chemistry Live, we discussed the quiz on moles and molecules. Going back, I guess I didn't add a description to that one. Worked on the front of worksheet 2B. This goes all the way back to the very beginning when we first started this. So you might need to watch those and go review them, for example, if you are a little bit lost on some of this stuff. Or look back in your notes, too, from class. Every single assignment is going to be counted as a test grade, Madison, because it can't hurt your grade. So, for example, if you do poorly on one of these, I will not put it in a way that will hurt your grade. If you don't do well enough on it to actually raise your grade, then what you can do is just make corrections to it until it's good enough to raise your grade. So that, you actually just reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about that I forgot. So thank you for that question. You can't do worse on these than your current grade in the class. Okay? So let's say you have a B right now. Sorry, I'm kind of messing with my microphone here. Let's say you have a B right now, and you take a quiz and you get a C on it. I'm just not going to put a grade in. What I'll do is I'll mark it in PowerSchool as attempted, but because it was worse than your current grade in the class, it's not going to count against you. So what could you do? You could then go and you could finish it. You could go back and correct any mistakes that you made and resubmit it, and I'll grade it again. And let's say that you fix any mistakes that you made and you got yourself up to an A. Then I'll put the grade in PowerSchool, so it will actually bump you up. So that's why I'm doing that, because if I only put them in as homework grades or classwork grades, they're not going to have enough impact to actually make a difference. But if I put them in as test grades, they'll actually have enough weight that they matter. And I want them to matter, because they can't hurt you, they can only help you, and I really need everybody to be engaged. And so that's my way of kind of incentivizing. It's incentive. I'm trying to give you incentive to actually do the work. So if that makes sense and if that answered your question, awesome. If not, then I'll explain it more. So we've got 2 topics on the quiz so far. There's one more topic on the quiz that we have talked about in these live streams, which is really going back to worksheet 2B. And I don't know if I still have a copy of worksheet 2B here. Might have to pull one up on the computer to show you guys, which would be fine. So let me do that. Let me pull up a copy of worksheet 2B. I know I have a copy of it in the class stream. I had to scroll down through the stream pretty far to find it, but there we go. I found it. So it starts after April 13th. No, actually, I'm starting it with all the work that I've already given you guys. So any of the work that you've already done is in PowerSchool as a performance grade right now, but not in a negative way for anybody. So if you check Power School Madison, I think you'll see you have a couple grades in there, and your grade has probably gone up. And then Luis, are you confused about the grading policy, or are you confused about the chemistry? You got to be specific when you ask questions, because I'm not sure what specifically you're confused about. But I would like to answer your questions if at all possible. So please keep asking them. Yeah. Check Power School. If you've been doing the work, if you did those 2 assignments that I talked about, then you'll have a grade for them. And because I do have to go in 8 minutes for another stream, I'm going to keep talking about what else is on the quiz. So the rest of worksheet 2B was proportions and conversions. So watch me not know how to spell proportions. Is it P-R-O? It doesn't seem right. Portions? Maybe my gut was right and I shouldn't have changed it. But what I mean with those is I mean the rest of the worksheet 2B. All right, Luis, I see your question. I'll get to that in a second. This is for me, Madison. I don't know. I can't speak to what any other teachers are doing. This is just what I decided to do because I need you guys to be engaged and I need to give you incentive to be engaged. No, don't have to apologize for asking questions. Luis, let me swing back and explain it all again and answer your question too, Luis. But first I want to finish talking about this. So the last part of the quiz is the last part of worksheet 2B, where we talked about all this stuff last week, and we've got several streams, several pre-recorded videos. If you missed them, you can go back and tune into them. But the process would be, for example, converting from mass to moles. So if I want to convert from grams to moles or back from moles to grams, I have to use the atomic weight or the molecular weight of the compound. So that's why part 1, before I erase the whiteboard, is important. And then if I want to convert to the number of particles, I need to use Avogadro's number. So setting up proportions, for example, if we keep going with the H2O example, how many moles is 12 grams of H2O? If we keep going with that, for example, I don't know if this is specifically on worksheet 2B or not, but if I want to go back to a question like that, what I would need to do is I would need to say, all right, I'm going to set up a proportion. So I know that there are 18 grams of H2O in 1 mole. So I might say, how does that compare if I have 12 grams? Then how many moles is that? Now I actually know for a fact, and I would solve for x, so I would need to cross multiply. I actually know that this is not the way I've set it up in previous videos that I've streamed. But maybe seeing it this way clicks it for your head better, so that's fine. If it clicks, oh, okay, this is the molecular weight, 18 grams of water per 1 mole. I figured that out from the periodic table. This is what's given to me in the question. There's 12 grams of H2O. How many moles is that? Remember, how many always means X. As long as I have like consistency between, okay, I've got grams and grams in the numerator and moles in the denominator, I'm good. Juan. I don't know what pH stands for, but cool, I'm glad you're here anyway. The way that I've shown you guys that I've set it up before is I've said, okay, 18 grams of H2O is 1 mole. How many moles are 12 grams? And then I said, okay, here's your 2 fractions. You're going to set these 2 things equal to each other and cross multiply and do the work. So this is the way I've set it up in previous videos, but you know, if it clicked the other way I've set it up, then that's fine. Either way to do it, once you cross multiply, everything ends up being the same. And so either way you go, you can get to the same answer. The final thing is to convert from moles to particles. 1 mole is equal to Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the power of 23 particles. And that's the other thing that we've talked about. I'm not going to review right now because I have to go in 4 minutes to get to another stream, but you guys can watch previous videos that I have recorded if you need to review that again. So go back through either the Google Classroom or just go straight to my YouTube channel and watch those previous videos. So Luis, as far as the grading policy, this is for my class only, right? Okay, so my class only. I don't know what other teachers are doing, but I'm saying that any assignments that I give to you guys are going to be counted as test points so that they have more weight. They will not be used to lower your grade, at least for the time being, because that is what I'm kind of being told by, like, as the whole school. Now, if the school says, okay, tests can be used to lower your grade again, then I would be allowed to do that. But the only real circumstance where I'm interested in doing that is if somebody is just not participating at all. So I'm talking about like the NE kind of code there. But if you make an attempt, okay, if you make effort, then, and you do poorly, I will not put in a bad grade. I will say, fix your mistakes and resubmit it. And then I'll only give you a grade that improves you. Now, if you're just not here, not present, not doing the work at all, and the school tells me that I have the green light, I'll put in an NE, and that will lower your grade. Okay, but that's not the story for right now. I have to get permission to do that first, and I honestly have no idea what Fenton as a school is thinking as far as that goes. So for right now, grades will only go up. Cool. If you do poorly on something, you can resubmit it, fix your mistakes as many times as you need to in order to get it right. Cool. In the future, you might be penalized for doing nothing. Like if you submit no work at all, you could lose credit for that because you still have to be responsible. But I don't know yet what the school is going to allow. We will see how it goes. So that's the grading policy. I have like 1 minute before I have to go get onto the other stream. There's going to be a longer quiz posted on these topics. So review your notes and review the other videos that I've made the previous 2 weeks if you need help with those. And if there are any last minute questions, go ahead and ask them in the comments right now. Otherwise, thank you guys for being here. Look for that quiz to be posted later today. And that is going to be due on Thursday or by Thursday, and we're going to go over it Friday. So I'm going to give you guys plenty of time to work on it. I want to give you guys plenty of time to work on it because I don't know what else you have going on in your life. I just want to make sure you have the time you need. So I'm going to post that, give you plenty of time to work on it, and then we will move on, like I said, to some other topics. So I haven't seen any other questions pop up in the comments yet. I'm going to wait 2 more seconds to do that before I go. So I'm going to end the stream at this point, but I will hang out in the comments for 1 more minute to answer any questions that you guys have. And I will see you again soon. Thank you guys for being here. It really means a lot to me. And get outside. And yeah, please get outside. It is so nice outside today. Get some vitamin D. Get some sunshine. Please do it. And have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon.